What if I told you you could buy an entire ghost town in Mexico for less than the price of a used pickup truck? I'm talking real land, real buildings, some of them hundreds of years old, sitting completely abandoned, waiting for someone like you to snap them up. These aren't rundown shacks in the middle of nowhere. These are historic silver mining towns, colonial-era plazas, and mountain villages with jaw-dropping architecture that the rest of the world has completely forgotten about. Today, we're counting down the top 10 cheapest ghost towns in Mexico, where you can actually buy property right now. We'll cover the locations, the history, the prices, and the legal stuff you need to know before you pull the trigger. Whether you want to flip a property, build an Airbnb empire, or literally live like a king in your own ghost town, stick around. This video is going to blow your mind. Why Mexico has so many ghost towns. Before we get into the list, let's talk about why Mexico has so many ghost towns. Because once you understand the history, these places become even more fascinating. In the 1500s, the Spanish discovered that Mexico was sitting on one of the largest silver deposits in the entire world. Towns literally exploded into existence overnight. Thousands of miners, merchants, priests, and families flooded into remote mountains and deserts to strike it rich. At its peak, Mexico was producing over 60% of the world's silver. Cities like Guanajuato, Zacatecas, and San Luis Potosí became some of the wealthiest places on the planet. Then, the silver ran out, or the mines flooded, or the revolution hit, or the global price of silver crashed. And one by one, these once booming towns were abandoned. Today, there are hundreds, maybe thousands, of these semi-abandoned or completely deserted towns scattered across Mexico. And because they're so remote and so forgotten, the real estate is almost impossibly cheap. Quick disclaimer before we dive in. Prices I mention are based on listed properties and reports from agents on the ground. Always do your own research. We'll cover the legal side at the end. Cool? Number 10. El Mineral de Rayas, Guanajuato. Coming in at number 10, El Mineral de Rayas, sitting right on the outskirts of one of Mexico's most beautiful cities, Guanajuato. Guanajuato City is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Absolutely stunning. But just outside the city center is this old mining district that most tourists completely walk past. The Rayas mine was one of the most productive silver mines in colonial Mexico. In the 1700s, this area was thriving. When mining wound down, the surrounding village basically froze in time. For buyers, because this sits just outside city limits, you can find raw building lots starting around $10,000 to $30,000 USD. And here's the kicker. You're buying land within walking distance of a major tourist city. If you wanted to develop vacation rentals or a boutique hotel, the location is incredibly strategic. The catch? Steep terrain, limited infrastructure, and heavy development investment needed. But for the right buyer, this is a steal. Number 9. Asientos, Aguascalientes. At number 9, Asientos, Aguascalientes, the state literally means hot waters because of its geothermal springs. Already cool. But what makes Asientos genuinely unique is what's underground. The town has an extensive network of tunnels beneath the streets, originally used to transport ore from the mines. Today, they're just sitting there, largely unexplored. The town has a well-preserved colonial church, old stone buildings lining empty streets, and almost zero tourists. It genuinely feels like you stepped back 200 years. Small fixer-upper homes here have been listed under $30,000 USD. Raw land even cheaper. You'd essentially be buying into a small community, not just a property. Is this the next big tourist hotspot? Probably not tomorrow. But for someone who wants a historic, off-the-beaten-path project, this one has serious bones. Number 8. Real del Monte, Hidalgo. Number 8 is one of my personal favorites. Real del Monte, Hidalgo, about 2.5 hours from Mexico City. Now, Real del Monte is more active than a pure ghost town. It has residents, shops, even some tourism. So why is it on the list? Because it's one of the most affordable, most historically rich, and most undervalued colonial towns in all of Mexico. Here's what makes this place genuinely wild. In the 1800s, British mining companies came to reopen the silver mines, and they brought Cornish miners from Cornwall, England, into the Mexican mountains. and those miners brought their food with them, including the meat pastry called a pasty. Mexicans adopted it, called it a paste, and it's now considered a local cultural treasure. You cannot make this up. The architecture is gorgeous, colonial Mexican mixed with European influence, set against dramatic mountain scenery. And fixer-upper properties start around $40,000 to $80,000 USD. For the proximity to Mexico City and the quality of the setting, this might be the best pure value on the entire list. Number 7. Batopilas, Chihuahua. Number 7 takes us to one of the most remote, most dramatic locations in all of North America. Batopilas, deep in the Copper Canyon of Chihuahua. The Copper Canyon is actually larger than the Grand Canyon, and sitting at the bottom of one of those canyons is Batopilas, a silver mining ghost town that once produced some of the purest silver ever extracted in Mexico. At its peak, Batopilas had electric lights before Mexico City did. Let that sink in. A remote canyon town, powered before the capital. Today, crumbling colonial shells, a handful of residents, and stunning natural beauty. The road down takes about 4 hours from the canyon rim on a winding mountain road that is not for the faint of heart, which is exactly why real estate here is so cheap. We're talking rural land sometimes under $5,000 USD. The catch is obvious: extreme remoteness, unreliable utilities, serious logistics for building materials. This is for a very specific kind of adventurous buyer, but the setting, unmatched on this entire list. Number 6. Ojuela, Durango. Number 6. Ojuela, Durango. And this one has a feature no other ghost town on this list can match. One of the most spectacular suspension bridges in all of Mexico. The Ojuela Bridge stretches 318 meters over a dizzying gorge, built in 1898 to connect the mining camp to the processing facilities. Today, it's a tourist attraction, one of the few draws to this forgotten corner of Durango. Ojuela itself is largely a ghost camp. The mining infrastructure collapsed, buildings crumbled, population basically zero. Land around it is very cheap. But I want to be real. Ojuela is more of an archaeological site than a traditional real estate opportunity. Ownership questions around the ruins themselves are complex. This is one where a local lawyer is absolutely non-negotiable before you put any money down. But that bridge alone makes Ojuela one of the most iconic and visually stunning ghost town sites in the country. Number 5. Mineral de Angangueo, Michoacán. At number 5, Mineral de Angangueo, Michoacán. And this one has 2 unique selling points that set it completely apart. First, a beautiful former silver mining town with colonial architecture in the mountains of Michoacán. Already interesting. Second, it sits right next to the monarch butterfly biosphere reserve. Every year, hundreds of millions of monarch butterflies migrate from Canada and the US and fill the forests around Angangueo so densely the trees literally turn orange. It is one of the most spectacular natural phenomena on the planet. And here's the investment angle. There's a serious lack of quality accommodation near the butterfly reserve. A bed and breakfast, eco-lodge, or vacation rental could tap directly into that tourist flow from around the world. Real estate here is highly affordable. Small homes and lots well under $50,000 USD in many cases. The challenge? Remote mountain location and security concerns in parts of Michoacán. Do your research and work with local contacts carefully. Number 4. Mapimí, Durango. And this one gets a little weird in the best possible way. Mapimí is near the Ojuela mine, which you already know. But what makes Mapimí special is its proximity to the Zona del Silencio, the Zone of Silence. The Zone of Silence is a remote area of the Chihuahuan Desert where radio signals allegedly don't work, compasses supposedly go haywire, and strange lights reportedly appear in the sky at night. Scientists say it's the high mineral content in the soil. UFO enthusiasts say other things. Whether you believe the legends or not, the Zone of Silence is a genuine tourist draw, and Mapimí sits right at the gateway to it. The town is semi-abandoned, quiet colonial streets, a beautiful ruined church, very few permanent residents. Rural land plots here have been listed for under 100,000 Mexican pesos, roughly 5,000 to 6,000 USD. The play here? a rustic desert retreat, marketed to the UFO tourism crowd, the off-road adventure crowd, or the dark skies stargazing crowd. The desert skies are absolutely breathtaking. Number 3. Real de Catorce, San Luis Potosí. We're in the top 3 now. And number 3 is one of the most famous ghost towns in all of Mexico. Real de Catorce, San Luis Potosí. Real de Catorce, Royal 14, named after 14 Spanish soldiers ambushed here in colonial times. The town sits at over 9,000 feet elevation, accessible only through a single-lane tunnel carved through the mountain, one of the most dramatic entrances to any town you'll ever experience. At its peak in the 1800s, Real de Catorce had a population of 40,000 people. Today, a few hundred permanent residents, horses wandering cobblestone streets, crumbling mansions that look like movie sets. And actually, it has been a movie set. Parts of a James Bond film and The Mexican with Brad Pitt both filmed here. The place looks absolutely unreal. Real de Catorce is also sacred to the Huical indigenous people, who make annual pilgrimages to the surrounding desert for spiritual ceremonies, adding another layer of deep cultural significance. Now, this one isn't dirt cheap anymore. International buyers have discovered it. Empty lots start around $220,000 USD at current exchange rates. But for the setting, the history, the cinematic beauty, many investors consider it worth every penny. This is the one with the highest ceiling for boutique hotel or luxury vacation rental development. Number 2. Mineral de Pozos, Guanajuato. Number 2, and this is arguably the most well-known ghost town in all of Mexico. Mineral de Pozos, known simply as Pozos. Pozos was a booming silver and copper mining town in the 1800s, with a population that once reached 70,000. When the mines flooded and silver prices collapsed, the town collapsed with it. By the mid-20th century, crumbling haciendas, empty mine shafts, total silence. Then something interesting happened. Artists discovered it, writers discovered it, expats discovered it, and slowly, carefully, Pozos began to come back to life. Not as a mining town, but as an arts community. Today, Pozos is officially a Pueblo Mágico, a magical town, designated by the Mexican government. It has boutique hotels, art galleries, mezcal bars, and a growing international community, all set against spectacular mining ruins you can literally walk through. And real estate, still accessible. Unbuilt lots from around 15,000 USD. Historic fixer-upper stone homes starting around 150,000 USD. For a Pueblo Mágico with growing international appeal, that's remarkable value. This is the safest investment on the list. Infrastructure exists, tourism exists, international community exists. Number 1. Pozos de la Escondida, Coahuila. And number 1, the most underrated, most under the radar, and most surprisingly affordable ghost town real estate opportunity in all of Mexico. Pozos de la Escondida, Coahuila. You have probably never heard of this one, and that is exactly why it's number 1. Pozos de la Escondida is a former mining camp in the desert state of Coahuila, near the Texas border. It is barely mentioned in travel guides, largely unknown even to most Mexicans. It is as ghost town gets. And because of that obscurity, rural acreage here is available at prices that are almost hard to believe. Large desert parcels for what would barely get you a parking spot in most American cities. Now, I have to be straight with you. This is the highest risk, highest reward entry on the list. Being near the border means you must use a Fideicomiso, a bank trust, to hold the property legally as a foreign national. Title situations in remote Coahuila can be complex. Infrastructure is essentially non-existent. No existing community, no tourism base. But for the patient, adventurous buyer with good legal support and a long-term vision, this is the kind of opportunity that used to exist in Todos Santos or Sayulita before those towns got discovered. You'd be buying in before anyone else even knew to look. That is the ultimate ghost town play. What foreign buyers must know. Before you book flights and start calling agents, we have to talk about the legal side. This is where foreign buyers get into trouble. Rule number 1, the restricted zone. Mexico's constitution prohibits foreign nationals from directly owning land within 50 kilometers of any coastline or within 100 kilometers of any international border. Several locations on this list are in or near restricted zones. The Fideicomiso. If you're buying in a restricted zone, you need a Fideicomiso, a bank trust. A Mexican bank holds the title in trust for you. You keep all ownership rights. You can sell, rent, develop, pass it to heirs, but the bank is the legal title holder. Annual fees run roughly $500 to $1,000 USD per year. Rule number 2, title clarity. In remote ghost towns, this is the most important issue. Many rural properties in abandoned mining regions have unclear or completely absent legal documentation. Before spending a single dollar, hire a Mexican notario publico and an independent real estate lawyer to verify clear title. Do not skip this step. Rule number 3, ejido land. Significant amounts of rural Mexican land are classified as ejido land, communally held agricultural land that cannot be freely sold to foreign nationals. Always verify land classification before proceeding. A local lawyer can check this quickly. None of this is meant to scare you. People buy property in Mexico successfully every day. Just go in with your eyes open and work with reputable local professionals. So there you have it. The top 10 cheapest ghost towns in Mexico where you can actually buy property right now. From the cinematic magic of Real de Catorce to the artistic revival of Pozos, from monarch butterflies in Angangueo to UFO mysteries in Mapimí, and all the way to the jaw-dropping wildcard, Pozos de la Escondida in Coahuila. Mexico is full of forgotten places just waiting to be rediscovered. And right now, prices are still low enough that the right buyer could get in before everyone else catches on. Now, I want to hear from you. Which ghost town from this list would you be most interested in? Drop it in the comments. Is it the drama of Real de Catorce? The vibe of Pozos? Or are you crazy enough to go all in on the wild card? If this video gave you value, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel. And if you want more content on hidden real estate gems, expat living, and buying in Mexico, hit subscribe and tap the bell. I'm Thomas, and I'll see you in the next one.